If there's one game that I really want to see coming to the Neo Geo AES Plus re-released is Windjammers. And I mean the first one. We're going to talk about the second one in a moment. Now what you see here is the Nintendo Switch port. The game was initially released in the arcades in 1994. It was later released for other platforms and also ported to other platforms. I'm playing the Switch version, which also has, by the way, the option to change the music for the Neo Geo Music or the Neo Geo CD. The game was also ported to PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo Switch, and also, by the way, for the Wii Virtual Console in Japan in 2010, and the iiRcade as well in 2021, and the game was licensed through PayOnDP, which is a Japanese company that currently holds the rights to the classic Data East library. Now this game will play kind of like air hockey combination with volleyball, and I would say even feel like kind of fighting game in a way. Like two characters that have kind of a range attack weapon. So all the one player versus other player just feel more personal, like a fighting game. This is a very skill-based game that is easy to pick up but hard to master. It's lots of cool moves and also characters that have their own pros and cons. Now the three character archetypes, including Light, which has fast movement but weak throws, Medium that is more balanced stats, and Heavy that has slow movement but incredibly powerful fast shot. So each one balanced between speed and power, and also each one represents a different country. Alright, so immediately you're going to see it's also remind you of a tennis game, right, with the net in the middle. But in general there are scoring zones, as you saw earlier. Most courts have a 3-point zone on the outer edges and 5-point zone in the center, marked in red as you can see there, and yellow on the outer edges. There's also the miss mechanic, so if your opponent fails to catch the disc and it drops to the floor on the other side, you earn 2 points. Alright, so this is kind of borrowed from volleyball. Now, the matches are typically best of 3 sets, and a set is won by first player to reach 12 points, or whoever has the most points when the timer is 0. Now, the cool thing is that the game plays with the arena variations, so you have one with the standard width and small 5-point zone. You have the tile and clay, which is standard width with massive 5-point zones in the on the sides and tiny 3-point zone in the center. Here, for example, you can see that the yellow is the yellow, which is big, and the 2 5 points are actually on the sides. So the cool thing is you also adjust to that, to the arena type, not just the archetype you're actually facing against. Now, in terms of defensive mechanics, it's really one of the coolest things about this game. So many adapt to the mechanics. For example, you have the 8-way movement, which you can see. You have automatic catching, so just simply walking into the disc path catches it. You have the sliding and dashing, which you do direction plus the A button, which is a quick launch to reach distance shots. And holding A increases the slide distance, but also increase your recovery time. You also have the toss block, which is you're pressing A while actually stationary. So if you are in a neutral standing or perform a manual block, the disc pops high into the air, and this is the primary way to set up a super shot. Now there's also stun mechanics, so if the disc hits your character's back or face, you're kind of knocked down momentarily, giving your opponent a chance to score. Now in terms of the offensive mechanic, you have the straight throw. You can just press A, either be neutral or use forward. This is just the basic horizontal shot. You have the angle throw, which is A plus up and down, which is a straight shot aimed towards the corners or walls for a bank shot. You also have the curve throw, which you do kind of quarter, half circle plus A, also known as the effects throw, which rotating the stick before throwing creates a curved trajectory that can bypass an opponent's guard. You also have the supersonic, it's kind of fast throw, which you need to time it. So when pressing A at the exact moment you catch the disc, returns it significantly in significantly higher velocity and a blurred visual trail. You also have the lobbing. When you sense the disc high into the air, if it lands on the ground without being caught, you earn 2 points. Now, it's important to know that each car of the 6 characters has a unique eye power move. For example, Millers have this flame throw, or Wessels have this whirlwind throw. There's also a super spin, kind of curve motion plus A, which is a powered up version of the curve shot that spirals unpredictably towards the goal. There's also another one which I really love when it happens, so it calls super reversal. So if you time a button press perfectly while catching an opponent's super, you can immediately fire it back at them with even higher speed. Now the music is great, same goes to the commentary. So even though just the action itself is just so much fun and keep you on the edge, you know, together with the commentary and the music, it's just amazing experience. There's also bonus points minigame like this one. Like in this particular court, you have these two bumpers in the middle. So if the disc hits it, it kind of bounces off at a sharp, often unpredictable angle. So this adds a layer of chaos to the match because it can suddenly change trajectory of a shot, making it harder for your opponent to track and catch. Now the Switch version also have the option for scan lines and also kind of curved CRT with scan lines. Yeah, something very, very basic, no options to really kind of control things like you have, for example, in the Wonder Boy collection, where you have much degree of control over the scan lines look and feel. Here, it's very simple. Now I want to touch Windjammers 2. This was released in 2022. This has end-roll HD 2D animations. I personally found it a bit off-putting, although it looks nice in general, but I really like the original look. It has 10 playable characters mixed with old and new ones. It also has a new power gauge for EX moves and also super customs. It has also slide, toss, which the same as before as the original, but also has jump and parry. Now in terms of offensive moves, it has slap shots, drop shots, and smashes. The arenas, well, 6 was available in the original one. Here you have more than 10 courts with varying mechanics, including moving barriers. It does support online play with built-in rollback netcode. There's also a new power meter that fills during play. The animations are more exaggerated, and of course it has more modern design. Alright, let's just watch a bit. Now, one of the coolest things, of course, is having online play. People, I think, would wish that the original one on Neo Geo would have online play as well. It allows the original game to grow so much more beyond, of course, what we have here. But you can do this if you are playing the non-Neo Geo version, the one that released later on, the port for example, the PlayStation and the Switch. In terms of soundtrack, it has a modern soundtrack plus remixed classic feel, although the original has FM synth and of course the Neo Geo sound. Now this one you can get on PC, I got it on Steam, but you can get it on Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. So in other words, the Windjammers, the first one, brings an arcade purity that many people love, including the mechanics, and the Windjammers 2 kind of modernize this with competitive evolution of the game. So this game is, in my opinion, a very, very different appeal compared to the first one. I mean, just look at the art here. I mean, I don't connect with it personally. Yeah, so in my opinion, they must bring this back, a re-release for the Neo Geo AES Plus. I'm pretty sure many people wouldn't want or cannot afford playing the original prices for this game, for the Neo Geo. And it's such an amazing and fun game. Although I have to admit, if there was an option to release a cartridge that will support some way or another online play, that would be insane for this particular game. Playing the original console with online, wow, it's going to be a blast. So what are your thoughts about the game in the comment section? Thanks for watching.